Three, two, one. Hello, movie fans, and welcome to Real Movie Talk. This is the show where we talk everything films and the industry that surrounds them. I am your host, Dec, and as always, is Ben.
Welcome to the podcast this week, and we don't have much news. We're going to be talking
No.
about trailers.
Yeah, mostly trailers. We've got a couple of news pieces here and there. It's been quite a slow news week, to be honest. But it's kind of refreshing in a way because we normally have like a massive stockpile of news that we have to go through. But this week it's actually quite refreshing to have just quite a nice little bunch of news. But before we dive into that, I would just like to bring up obviously the very sad passing of Stan Lee. Stan Lee, I think, is an inspiration to all of us, especially obviously me and Ben being huge comic book fans as well. Stan Lee was a real inspiration to all of us, and even his influence obviously on the film industry, the comic book movie industry and things like that. Stan Lee was just like a real great guy. His passion was unparalleled. The way he was able to put that to paper in order to create some incredible stories and characters for all of us to enjoy is something that, is a power that many wouldn't possess. And, he's a real life superhero. We're all going to miss him. And, I just wanted to mention that up top. Do you have any thoughts on Stan Lee?
Yeah, it's really sad. Obviously, like I wasn't always like a Marvel guy. I was always a DC guy, but like since like I started watching the films, I've got into more of the stuff and just seeing that he created all these characters that I love, especially like Spider-Man and stuff like that. I love it's such a nice surprise. I feel like you always forget that Stanley's going to pop up in one of these films. And then when it happens, you're like, "Oh my god, this is so cool. I love it." And yeah, it's really sad, and obviously he recorded 3 more cameos, so
Yeah, yeah.
look forward to those. Although it's going to be sad, but I think it was a really, really nice, warm response on Twitter of how everyone was dealing with it. It seems like a lot more people actually cared about him than maybe it seemed like when he was alive. So it was just really nice seeing all the messages, and we're all pretty sad about it.
Yeah, but I mean, 95, that was a good age, He's had a good run.
Yeah.
And I think, we're all going to miss him. But I am looking forward to his last remaining cameos. I believe his last cameo is going to be Avengers 4, although it could be Spider-Man Far From Home. I'm not too sure.
Spider-Man, I'm fairly certain.
Well,
So we'll have to wait
whichever
and
one it
see.
is,
Yeah.
it's going to be like a sad one to see, but also, in his typical comedic style, it's still going to be great. So we're going to miss you, Stan Lee, but, we'll all see you on the other side. So we'll jump into the news. I'm going to break this down into two different sections. I'm going to start with the news, and then we'll do the trailers. So, first off, there has been some rumors recently that Marvel have found their director for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and that is Travis Knight. Now, this is a choice I think is fantastic, and I know, Ben, you're probably going to think, oh yeah, well, it's just because this guy's directing Bumblebee, but that's not the case. I genuinely think this guy is a great director, a great storyteller, and I think a really fun choice for this franchise. Now, Travis Knight, he is the director of Kubo and the Two Strings. He's also directing Bumblebee, coming out next month. And I just think, Bumblebee looks great. Kubo and the Two Strings was an incredible film. And I think he's just has this real sense of flair and style to him that could fit into the Guardians world. Now, obviously, this film is never going to be exactly the same as the first two. It's not going to feel the same. I think a lot of us are going to have to accept that. But given the fact that this is going to change in some way, I don't think Travis Knight would bring on a change that was so drastic.
Yeah, I when I saw this like supposed news, this rumor, my reaction was like, okay, I would be down to see this. It's not getting me like more excited for a Guardians film. Like I suggested that I would really like to see the Mandy director do it, the latest Nicolas Cage film. I think he would be great, but this excites me because he's got a pretty good track record, Travis Knight, and I'm looking forward to Bumblebee. We'll see how it actually is. I like what he's produced in the past, so I think good eye for things. And yeah, I would be down if this was the director they would go for.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for this. Obviously, we'll have to see how Bumblebee turns out. Bumblebee is, I believe, his first live action directorial effort, so we're going to have to wait and see how that does. But yeah, to quote what you said, I'd be totally down for this if they went for this choice. Also, Bad Boys 3 is officially going into production. Martin Lawrence has officially signed on to join the cast alongside Will Smith, who has already signed on. And they've officially titled it Bad Boys for Life, which is a very typical Sony thing to do. I'm I've never seen any of the Bad Boys movies. I don't really know sort of what they're like or even what the general perception is in terms of like pop culture. But I mean, Will Smith is a charismatic actor, obviously. So I kind of watch anything that he does. So I'll definitely catch up on the first two before this one comes out.
This does not excite me. I I hate Michael Bay. Um, the only I will definitely see it when it comes out, only because of Will Smith. I love Will Smith, so that's the only thing that excites me. So hearing that there's a third film, I'm like, sure. Don't want to see it if it's Michael Bay, which he's probably going to direct it. Um, not that I wouldn't see it. Just it's been like what, like 17, maybe 16 years since the second Bad Boys. Like, I don't think there's a need for it, and yeah, it just doesn't excite me.
I'm just checking now. I don't think Michael Bay is directing it, although there doesn't appear to be a director attached yet, so he could come back. I mean, I have you seen the first two?
I've seen the first one.
Is it good?
Not really. No.
I mean, they kind of just look
it's
like
just your
over the top
average
action
film.
movies. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on the matter because I've never seen them. So, but like I say, I will watch them just because Will Smith is just an incredibly entertaining actor. So yeah, this news is just kind of like meh. It's just kind of like there.
I'm sure some people are excited. Like, I'm pretty sure it's got like some sort of following. So
Yeah,
we'll
it
see.
seems to have a bit more of like a cult following more than anything else. Now Paramount Players. Now, when I read this, I was so confused when I read this. Paramount has acquired the script for Unboxing, which is a film focusing on an 11-year-old YouTube star unboxing her father's secret safe as a stunt for her channel. Now, when I first read this, I thought this was a tweet from the Lay Cinephiles account.
Yeah.
When I first read this, I was like, this can't be real. But it is real. I don't know where this movie is coming from. I don't know what the motivation is to do this. It just seems really strange to me.
Yeah, I'm kind of, when I saw that as well, I was like, is it from them? Like,
Because it looked like one of their tweets.
yeah, I don't know. And it's going to be, I don't know. Films with social media stars and YouTube stars don't excite me because I just don't think it's. I think it's kind of like, if you saw The Flash recently, there was a villain where it was a social media star and it was so cringy.
Yeah.
It seems like films and TV always seem to think we're all like little cringeworthy, annoying people, and yeah, I don't know, it just doesn't excite me at all. Don't know.
It's definitely one I'm interested to see develop, just because I want to see who they cast and what the actual film will look like. It's just a weird one. Like, it's just come out of nowhere. Like, it came from Deadline. They're the ones reporting it, and it's just like it just came out of nowhere. But yeah, I'm excited to see it develop though. I want to see what this film actually ends up being, and I mean, an 11-year-old YouTube star, so the main character is gonna be an 11-year-old. That can't be good. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. We probably won't be seeing that film until maybe 2020, 2021. So still got a few years yet. And then the next piece of news we have is that Ella J. Basco has been officially cast as Cassandra Cain in the Birds of Prey movie. So we officially have that. So we now have like all of our major castings for the Birds of Prey. We have all the main members. Obviously, Ewan McGregor is playing Black Mask, and now we've got Ella J. Basco as Cassandra Cain. This seems like a pretty good casting to me. Isn't she related to the guy who played
Okay.
Zuko? Yeah. Yeah.
Her niece. That's the only, like, when I saw this and I saw that they were related, I was like, yes.
That is it's a pretty cool little casting. Is this like her first big role?
Yeah, I'm fairly sure it's her first like sort of role.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, this role of Cassandra Cain, like, she is gonna be fairly young in the movie. Like, she's gonna be kidnapped, so she's not gonna be suiting up anytime soon.
Yeah, because I think Ella is actually like, is she like 9 or 8 or something like that?
Around that, yeah.
I think she's gonna have a minimal role, but it will sort of introduce her. Maybe they will get around to doing like an older version sometime soon, but or maybe she will suit up like maybe in the next film. I doubt she will suit up for the first film, if I'm honest.
No, no, I think that'd be a dumb decision if they did. Um,
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But
yeah, just give the character some time to develop. Like, especially, I mean, if they're building a franchise out of Birds of Prey, which if this movie does well, and given the fact that Harley Quinn is in it, it probably will. We'll probably see a Birds of Prey sequel within the next 5, 6, 7 years. So, you've got time to do that. I think if you want to. But yeah, cool casting, and now we have like the full cast complete. This movie really feels like it is coming together now, with Kathy Yan at the helm. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in this. Like the DC sort of schedule going forward is fairly exciting to me now. Like it kind of feels like it's back on track a little bit. So and as a huge DC fan, that does get me very excited. Just have to wait and see if this one is actually any good. Um, Now this news, I literally when I was collecting the news, I just saw this, and I didn't even see this earlier in the week, and this really shocked me, but also incredibly excited me at the same time. So according to the cinematographer of A Star Is Born, which is obviously Bradley Cooper's big film at the moment, there is apparently an extended slash director's cut in development for A Star Is Born. Now, A Star Is Born is my favourite movie of the year so far, and will likely stay at the top till the end of the year. I adore it, and I think that for me personally, getting more of it, I can't say no to that.
it's my 10th favorite film of the year, and that's not saying anything. I love this film. Like my top my top 16 literally are like all top-notch films. So when I saw this news, I was like, I'll take it. But the reason why I'm sort of a bit hesitant, like, I don't think it needs a director's cut. Yes, it would be
No,
nice to see more footage. I think the film as it is, really, really good. So to see it, but also at the same time, I would kind of like to see it due to maybe getting some more footage of, say, maybe some other characters like that didn't get as much time, like Sam Elliott's
yeah,
character didn't get that much time. Maybe there's some more.
yeah, I definitely, yeah, I think Sam Elliott would be a good one to get some more footage from. They maybe even have like a couple of songs that maybe didn't make it into the final film. That they could throw in there. Thing is with me, I'm always happy when they do a director's cut because it's just it's the version that the creator wanted to release, and if they release it on home release, then the people who really want to see it can see it. I feel like this is a great one to do, and obviously for me it's a bit more of a personal thing because this is my favorite movie of the year. But just any more footage from this, I'll take it. I need to see that movie again. I've seen it twice now, but I need to see it again. Just because that movie just floors me. So yeah, I'll take that. So now we've got some trailers. So Netflix released the sort of first official trailer for Roma. This was a pretty cool trailer. I did really like it. What do you think?
Yeah, the trailer's amazing. I've seen the film. I love the film. It's one of my favorites this year. It's incredible, and I think the trailer does a really good job at setting up what it's like. Like you can tell from like the camera movements and the different things that this is the pure vision of Alfonso Cuarón, and it's extremely moving. Obviously, the trailer doesn't have that same sort of impact until you've seen the film. So I'd say definitely see this. It's coming out in 3 days in the UK and in America as well, on for like limited release, and then maybe like a few weeks later, I think it's on Netflix. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, I mean the trailer did a really good job, I think, of capturing the atmosphere. Obviously, I can't really speak to that because obviously I haven't seen the movie, but it definitely did more to help me get even more excited for the film, more than I already was. So I'll be definitely keeping an eye out on this one when it launches on Netflix because it won't get released around here. So we also got a trailer for Dumbo this week, the new Disney live action film from Tim Burton. I love this trailer, and I didn't expect to. I thought this movie, like out of all the live action movies Disney's got going on at the moment, Dumbo was the kind of weak link for me. I was kind of like, I don't really care about that one as much, but this trailer made me care about it.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this trailer. I think what Disney does with their trailers, like, oh my God, I just love them. I know not many people, there was a lot of people that didn't like what's it called, the Nutcracker. Yeah, it's one of my favorites this year, actually. But I love those trailers. I've watched them so many times. Same thing with Mary Poppins. The new trailers I've watched God knows how many times, and this new Dumbo trailer really does it. I think Disney always does a great job of marketing their films and trailers, and I think it's like really, really, it's gonna be like a really, really good film. I can just see it, and I have confidence in Tim Burton. Obviously, like not everyone likes his Alice in Wonderland, not everyone likes his Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, sort of things around like the more fairy tale like things, stories that he's done. Obviously, Alice is with Disney as well. So some people might be skeptical going into another Disney film with him if you didn't like it. I really, really trust Tim Burton, so I'm looking forward to this. I think it does look really good.
Yeah, Tim Burton was when they first announced him as the director. I was a bit skeptical because I was thinking that's a bit of a strange choice because he's typically such a dark director. Because even like with Alice in Wonderland, even being like a Disney project, it's quite dark and twisted in comparison to what they would typically do. So I thought this was a strange choice, but this movie really does have like a sense of wonder and a sense of magic about it. You know, it has that Disney magic to it, and also the cast in this is phenomenal. I didn't even know Michael Keaton was in this movie, but
Yeah, he's in like every freaking person.
any movie with Michael Keaton in it, I will watch it. I bloody love that guy. I think like Danny DeVito's in it as well, which again he was in Batman Returns as well, obviously. So I mean, Colin Farrell, like there's a really good cast
Farrell.
to this.
I love Colin Farrell. Yeah.
Love Colin Farrell. Like it's just a really good cast, and like I say, I really didn't expect to like this trailer, but I loved this trailer, and like the music they used, really playing at your emotions. Like I was tearing up in this trailer, just because of the music and the whole atmosphere surrounding it. Like I say, that magic was there. So yeah, like I say, for something that I didn't expect to enjoy, I am actually really excited about this movie now. So I bring it on. Sticking with Disney, we also got a couple of teasers for Toy Story 4. I didn't expect to get them this early. I don't know really in the time frame where you expected them, but I kind of thought maybe we could sort of get them early next year.
Yeah. I wasn't. I was kind of. It caught me by surprise.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
"What?"
I was kind of just in work, and then I checked Twitter, and I saw like Toy Story 4 trending. I was like, what? And I saw like these teasers have come up. So there was a couple. So the first one, we see like all of the returning cast kind of in a circle floating around, to an amazing piece of music, and then we see this new character who's introduced, who I believe is called Forky, and he is essentially a plastic fork which has been given arms and legs. Who I assume is Bonnie, and so this is like the new character who they're introducing. Now this trailer, this first one, didn't really do as much for me. It was nice to see all the cast there, and what struck me immediately was something that struck me with The Incredibles 2 when that came out, which was the new sort of animation style. Because Pixar's animation style has obviously changed and evolved ever so slightly over the years, as you would expect it to. But like The Incredibles 2 looks very different to The Incredibles 1, and Toy Story 4 looks very different to Toy Story 3. Just in terms of its slight difference in its animations. That's what struck me about it.
Yeah, I really, really love these teasers. Like, especially because I'm a massive Toy Story fan. I've always loved them. I've grown up with them, and seeing this and that song was so great. I love the song. I thought it was a really nice first teaser, and then we got that second one, which was really funny with Jordan Peele, and
Yeah, Keegan Michael
I'm
Key.
just super excited. I didn't particularly notice the change in animation, if I'm totally
It's very
honest.
subtle. Like it's just one of them things where obviously Pixar's animation style has changed over the years, and obviously it's been what 7 years since the last Toy Story, so it has changed. And same with like The Incredibles to The Incredibles 2, that was 14 years. So again, it does have a lot of a different style. Like it's not like anything like massive. You're not going to notice it too much. It's just it looks a bit crisper and a bit cleaner than what it used to, and it's not a complaint. I'm just sort of saying that's something I sort of picked up upon. But what do you think about the new character? Because this new character has been quite divisive, it seems.
I don't have a problem with it. Like, I liked him in the teaser. I thought it was a nice way to tease it. Obviously, we can't really judge a new character
No.
by literally a teaser that's probably definitely not going to be in the film. It's literally just for the teaser.
Yeah.
I'm open. I don't have anything wrong with him. But also at the same time, doesn't like it's not like a super exciting sort of he may be really interesting in the film, and I have no doubt that they're going to weave him in really well because all the Toy Story films are really, really good. So yeah, and the last Toy Story film, Toy Story 4, was 2010.
Yeah.
So about 8.
Yeah, but 8 years ago.
Obviously, when it's related, when it's sorry, when it comes out.
Yeah, I think that speaking about that character of Forky, like, yeah, I've seen a lot of people like giving him a hard time, and I was just like, I don't, like I said, like you said, I don't have a problem with it, and like it's hard. You can't just like judge this new character. He has like one line of dialogue, and this teaser's like 40 seconds, if that. You can't even really say anything about it. So yeah, you have to give it some time, and obviously they were going to introduce new characters in this. Like, I mean, look at Toy Story 3. Look how many like new characters they introduced in that film, and how great they were. Like Lotso, like he was a great character. So I think Pixar. I trust Pixar. I completely trust them.
Yeah.
And then we got the second tease, like you say, with Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key, which when I first saw this, I didn't actually know if they were in the movie. I was like, is this like a publicity stunt? Like, what's going on with this? But no, they have actually been cast in the movie, so they are also new characters coming in. And obviously, great casting choice there.
Yeah,
Just having them
excellent.
together is great. And they were really funny. Obviously, it was very like self-aware, very self-referential, very funny. And then obviously Woody and Buzz show up and you get that. That was very funny. And I'm definitely excited to see them in the movie. Because like I say, that's like a big get for them. So I think that's going to be awesome to see them, especially because they're going to be a duo, as they are in the comedy world. So I think that's definitely a good choice. What confused me about this though is that it appeared to be like, it seems to be that Pixar maybe changed the story of this film slightly, because originally when they first pitched it, they said that it was going to be like a love story between Woody and Bo Peep. But given like the recent synopsis they released, which I can't remember off the top of my head, I might have to go find it. But I seem to remember them saying that it was going to be like a love story. But that's kind of gone now. Like, it doesn't appear to be that's what they're doing anymore.
Yeah, I'm unsure as to like what Toy Story 4 is exactly going to be about, apart from that synopsis. So I think we'll just have to wait until we get some like maybe some more teasers or information. Then we will have to see if that's going to be what's happening. But I think it's a great score for Jordan Peele and yeah, I think they're a great duo. They're really funny together, and I really enjoyed them in this teaser, and I think in the film, no doubt.
Yeah, so I want to have a look just quickly. So the synopsis is, and this is from Disney, Woody and the rest of the toys are back in for an all-new adventure in Toy Story 4, welcoming new friends to Bonnie's room, including a reluctant new toy called Forky. So that's like the main description. So no mention of Bo Peep there. And then there's a second one, which is from the director, which says, Woody is now in a new room with new toys, something we've never seen before. Well, that's not really true. The questions of what that would be like became the beginning of entertaining story worth exploring. So yeah, I don't know if they've stuck to that original story, but to be honest, that original story didn't have me too excited. I think this is a better idea, personally. So yeah, but I mean, I'll take, I love Toy Story. That original trilogy is, one of the biggest masterpieces in animation. So I will take any new Toy Story movie. And obviously, given the fact that they've waited quite a long time to do this one, clearly shows that they have a story to tell and something that the cast want to do. So that's all good. I wonder if they will go any further than this though. Do you reckon that we'll get any more?
I don't think so.
It's interesting. We'll have to wait and see what they do. But yeah, I'm definitely excited about this. Obviously, this is coming out in June of 2019, so still got a little while to go yet, but I'm still very excited. And then the final trailer we got, and this one, kind of like Dumbo, completely surprised me with how much I enjoyed it, was Detective Pikachu. Great trailer.
Yeah, wow. When sort of like when I've been following like the story for a while, like the development, and I was like, I don't know about this. I'm a massive Pokemon fan. I've always loved Pokemon, like playing the games and the TV show. I used to bang out that game so hard, like Pokemon Platinum and all the different older ones as well. So I'm a massive Pokemon fan, but seeing that they were doing a live action one, I was hesitant. But I love this new direction that they're taking it, sort of that Pikachu can only talk to his trainer, and I think that's a really nice aspect. especially because we got Ryan Reynolds, and that just gives me all the more excitement for this because it watching that trailer, and I really do like what they're doing from this promotional look.
Yeah, I mean, when this trailer first opened up, I mean, it was almost Blade Runner esque. Like, the cityscape that they've designed is incredibly futuristic, and I think even the way the Pokemons, the way they look, they fit into the world really well. Because I'm not like a massive Pokemon fan. I've played a few of the games. It was never really my sort of thing. But I'm very much aware of it, and seeing how they actually fit in is really interesting. And these toys are gonna sell like hotcakes. Like all these plushy Pikachu's that they're gonna make and they're gonna sell. They're gonna make a lot of money just purely from the merchandise alone. It still takes me a while to get used to Ryan Reynolds' voice coming out of Pikachu.
Yeah.
Not a negative. It's just it's a bit strange at first. But again, obviously he's a great actor, so And then you got like Justice Smith as his trainer, who was in Jurassic World. He was all right in that movie, but I think he looks a lot better here. Just everything about it, like, it's really funny. It really made me laugh, and also any trailer that uses "Happy Together" by the Turtles will instantly have my attention. Bloody love that song. And I think that just this trailer, it really impressed me. Really impressed me. Like I say, because like you, I've kind of been following this for a while. When they first announced it, I was like, strange choice, but okay. And I've been waiting, and then now that this trailer's come out, I am fully on board with this film. I really want to see this now. Because, like I say, I really enjoyed this trailer. Really made me laugh. I had a great time watching it. I've watched it loads of times. I just find it super, super entertaining. So, and what I like as well is that it's not as kid friendly as I thought it was going to be. It has like a bit of an edge to it, which is good. I thought it was going to maybe be kiddied up quite a bit, but it's not. So, and this is the first Nintendo film I think since Super Mario Brothers in '97. So, I think this is definitely a big step for Nintendo as well. We were talking last week about the new Mario movie that might be happening, but this is like a first step. I mean, if this pays off, then and I really think it will. I think this is going to be a big hit. I think it's really going to be a crowd pleaser. I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy it. So yeah, great start for this film, I think.
Yeah. And also just one thing, the only thing about the trailer that kind of we got fireworks going off. One sec.
Bonfire night is long and gone.
Yes. Yeah, the one thing about the film that it doesn't worry me, but I'm just like not a massive fan of what Justice Smith did in Jurassic World.
No.
But however, I liked him in this trailer, so I look forward to it. But I just thought I had to mention that.
Yeah, I actually rewatched Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom the other day, like earlier this week. And it was just like, I think it was like the day after this trailer came out, and I was watching it, and like, yeah, he's not great in it. He's kind of like, his over the top screams that he does in the movie are kind of hilarious. I was kind of laughing out loud, and I can't quite tell if I was laughing at it or with it. I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. But yeah, he's not great in that film. But I mean, that film's not really great overall. But I think that he definitely does look better in this. He looks a lot more mature in this than he did in that film, so that's good. I think giving him the opportunity to take the lead is definitely going to show everything he can do. So, and I wish him the best. So we're going to move into our reviews. This is a big week for Ben. This is like one of your most anticipated weekends, probably in the history of this year. So I'll let you start off with the film that I haven't seen. I'll just let you go hog wild with this. We have Suspiria.
Okay. So Suspiria is a film about Susie, and Susie goes to this place, this dance academy in Berlin during the 1970s to audition at the world-renowned Helena Marcos dance company, and she is amazing. She's an amazing dancer, and she quickly elevates the lead to be playing the lead in the dance company. And the woman who she replaces, things go a little downhill from there. And this is my favorite film of the year. It is incredible, and essentially what happens is it's a tale about witchcraft, and Luca Guadagnino does an incredible job bringing this to life in this utterly strange and bone-chilling masterpiece. I literally probably one of my favorite films in the last 10 years or so. It is nothing short of a masterpiece. And coming off Call Me By Your Name, which I loved, I think Luca should be up for the Oscars for director. It is a directed film, I think, you know, close up to like maybe Damien Chazelle and First Man and various things like that. And I think it's going to get overlooked because it's a very divisive film because it does tap into sort of really, really psychological elements. And I think you're either going to love it like me, or you're going to be sort of there like, what the hell did I watch, you know? And so essentially we follow Susie, played by Dakota Johnson, backed up by Tilda Swinton and Mia Goth, among many other people. And this ensemble works so well. And it is extremely symbolic. It relies on the use of heavy symbolism, which is listed throughout. And essentially, Madame Blanc, played by Tilda, actually runs this company. And people suspect that there's a little bit of witchcraft going on, that this is like a coven of witches. And a retelling of Dario Argento's original horror film back a while ago, and people love that film. But this is more of a homage than a remake, and so many sort of different layers and different elements to love about this film. It is extremely well thought of, and the sort of visionary like aspect of how it's brought to life in the visuals and also in the storytelling is just like, after I watched it for the first time, I was just like, wow, what the fuck did I watch? Like, seriously, it was like the one film recently where I've come out of it and I was like, this is insane. And so it's extremely complex and it's intoxicating to watch. You just want to see more and more. And the use of sound editing, like say similar to like A Quiet Place, it's so effective and so well done that it literally rips into your soul as you watch it. And sort of there's just moments of dance that you would hazard the guess that dancing wouldn't be scary, but it is goddamn tense, and like it creates this atmosphere as they dance with the use of them breathing. Just the breathing is extremely well done, and like it's just sort of like a really nice homage to the original Suspiria, with the cinematography being incredible. I actually can't pronounce the cinematographer's name, but go check him out because he's really, really captures this film in its very ghost-like way that it is presented throughout the entire film. And so, like, to wrap it up, it's about three mothers and three gods, and obviously, like, they are sort of the real-life versions of, like, devils and demons, and the concept and story is portrayed in extreme detail in this sort of, like, I would say, like, sort of maddening, like it's crazy, and it sort of chills you to the very core depths of yourself. And you get some really, really, really amazing, mind-blowing scenes throughout the film, especially as you go towards the end. And the performances are devilishly good, and it is extremely chilling, and it's rather long, but it never bores, and you will be left sort of rendering and questioning what has happened, but also at the same time shivering, and you won't be able to forget what you've seen for at least a few weeks. I guarantee you that. And it's just, well, I cannot recommend it enough. I think it's going to be divisive as it's been already. You're either going to love it, think it's like the best film, or you're going to hate it.
Well, I mean, I'll definitely have to try and catch this one while I can. But as I mentioned to you before we started recording, this film is just not being shown anywhere around here. So I'll have to try and catch it, you know, when and where that I can. But it might not be for quite some time, until maybe even the Blu-ray comes out. So yeah, I'll definitely have to keep this one in mind. I don't know how I will take to this film. It doesn't look like my typical cup of tea. But, you know, my opinions have been known to sway in different ways at different times, so I'll have to see how I take to it. Upon my sort of impressions of the movie, I think it definitely looks very very different, very off-putting, and very freaky. But I feel like that this film is obviously that's clearly what it's going for. And Luca Guadagnino is obviously an incredible director. I love Call Me by Your Name, although this film obviously is very different to Call Me by Your Name. So we'll have to see how it goes. I'll all let you know, when and where I eventually watch this movie. But a movie that we can both talk about, and I feel we are going to clash quite heavily on this, is the new release in the Wizarding world. This is Harry Potter number 8, and this is Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald. I saw the movie on Friday night, on opening night. I was not impressed at all.
You want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, sure. So, yeah, just up top, I'm not really a Harry Potter fan. Not that I don't like it, it's just, it's not really like my favourite thing, you know what I mean? I'm not like super passionate about it. But I did really like the first movie, the first Fantastic Beasts. I thought that was a really fun, interesting, and different kind of film. So, and also given the fact that the trailers for this film I thought were fantastic, and I thought, yeah, I'm excited for this movie. I can take this. But then, sort of the day before the movie came out, the reviews really began to put me off the film, and I went in with incredibly low expectations, and I still, quite frankly, hated this movie. So I think, just to give like a positive, I think the performances are great on the whole. Like Eddie Redmayne is a great actor. He's great as Newt Scamander once again. I think he's just like a really entertaining character as well. Jude Law is great for as little that he's in the film. Catherine Waterston remains to be good, as does Dan Fogler. I think, Zoe Kravitz, Ezra Miller, I think most of them do a really good job. Not the biggest fan of Johnny Depp as Grindelwald. I think he was a bit miscast, if I'm being honest, and I still wish they would have kept Colin Farrell from the first movie. I think that would have been a much better choice. And you wouldn't have had to do this whole reveal thing. I think it would have been much better if they would have just stuck with the Colin Farrell from the first film. But my biggest problem with this film is that it's just, for me personally, I found it so boring and dull and lifeless and just nothing beneath the surface to actually make the movie entertaining. And again, I'm fully speaking from a non-Harry Potter fan perspective here. I'm just purely looking at this as a film. I just found it so drab, and I was honestly just so meandered by the whole thing, just sat there watching it, and to my eyes, I was just watching stuff happen on the screen that literally made no sense. I think the plot of this movie makes no sense. Everything that happens in this movie makes no sense. There's just kind of no logic to it. And again, I know a lot of people will probably say to me, oh, well, you're not a Harry Potter fan, you don't know the lore, things like that. And some of that may be true. Some of the things that get said in this movie, probably just went straight over my head. And I understand that. But even down to like basic functionality, I think the storytelling is really weak. I think that the plot in this movie overall is just very weak, confusing, overly convoluted. I just don't really feel like it needed to be there, because I think the reason why that happens is because this movie has so many characters and so many different storylines, but it doesn't really have a main storyline. It thinks it does, but it doesn't, because it keeps going on to all these other different things and gets so distracted and sidetracked that it doesn't have the focus that the first movie had. And this movie, like the first film, really did a good job at establishing the 4 main characters of, Newt and Jacob, Queenie, and Tina. But this movie completely separates them very early on, and I think that was a really bad decision, especially because Tina's kind of MIA for the movie for a long time, and then she comes in at the end, or just over halfway through, and I thought that was a bad decision. I think they should have kept the group as a whole. And again, I think there was just so many characters that just weren't necessary. Like Newt's brother, I don't think he had a place here. Zoe Kravitz, as much as I liked her in this movie, not that necessary, especially because they try. I mean, obviously they tie her in at the end. I won't spoil what the ending is, but they do try and tie that in. But I don't really think that was entirely necessary, because again, I think the ending is completely pointless. In terms of how they explain what's going on with Credence, and I don't mean the very very end. I mean the moment. You'll know what I'm talking about, but where there's that guy who kind of explains the story of what happened to Credence, and then Zoe Kravitz's character explains it from her perspective. Like that, I found to be a bit shaky and all over the place. And also for me, and this may seem stupid, but I think like there was no rules to this movie. Like the magic could just do anything, And again, I know a lot of people will probably say, "Oh, well, it's magic. What are you gonna expect?" But I feel like there has to be some kind of rules or logic to it. Um, Otherwise, I think that's kind of lazy. Because like, there's this one scene where you have like this blue flame that turns into a dragon. I'm like, okay, that makes no sense to me, personally. Um, Honestly, I was so close to walking out of this film at so many points. Because for me, this film was pretty much I was pretty much watching this in a foreign language, and I realized that at a point I was just like, this movie's going to do nothing for me, and the ending, I don't need to see the ending. It's not going to do anything. I did stick it out. I did wait to the very very end, to see everything in the movie, but I was so close, and it takes a lot for me to. It takes a lot for a film to make me want to walk out, especially with a 2 hour and 50 minute long runtime. That can feel really long when a movie's slow, which for me this movie was. So I really just did not have a good time with this. Like I said, I think the performances are good, but even like you know the visuals, the cinematography, I found to be a bit off in this film in a lot of points. And I saw the movie in IMAX 3D, which I have to say, the first movie in IMAX blew me away. I thought the 3D in that first film was absolutely brilliant, because I'm not a fan of 3D, but in that movie I was like, yeah, that's really good 3D. This film, the 3D was all over the shop, and it started to protrude the black bars on the screen, which was really distracting. And obviously, I don't know if that was just a problem with the screen, or if that was like an actual thing with the film, but I found it really distracting. It really took me out of it, like every time it happened. And even just like the camera work, I found to be incredibly annoying. I think that there's so many up close shots that linger for far too long, to the point where it's uncomfortable. And for me, this movie. I mean, obviously, this movie's not made for me. This movie's not made for me. And I think for the most part, Harry Potter fans seem to be enjoying this film. I have heard a few Harry Potter fans who are still incredibly disappointed, but I think for the most part, Potter fans are enjoying this. And obviously, I think they're a lot more likely to, especially because my friend was telling me about all the references that are in there. And again, a lot of those references obviously went over my head. I heard a couple of them, like there's a mention of Azkaban and things like that, which I picked up upon, but a lot of like the smaller, minute stuff I wouldn't have gotten at all. So, for me personally, this movie wasn't really made for me. I really didn't enjoy it. It's honestly one of my least favorite movies of the year. I thought this movie was kind of dreadful, but I know you're on the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah, so it's always great to hear other perspectives. Like, my comparison is I really hate Black Panther, but so many people loved it, and I think that's a similar thing. I love the film. It is toe and toe with Suspiria, my favorite film of the year. I know, like, totally opposite to you, and obviously a massive Harry Potter fan. I grew up watching these films, and I've watched them God knows how many times. I really liked Fantastic Beasts. When I first saw it in the cinema, the first one, I went in, I was so excited because it'd been 5 years since Harry Potter's last film. And that first film just got me. I watched it like 3 times in the cinema, and I literally, the first time I saw it, I was like, as soon as I saw the back of the hair of Grindelwald, I literally shouted out in the cinema, "That's Grindelwald!" And so obviously, like, to me, it was extremely satisfying, and I was spellbound throughout. I thought that it was extremely well written. I know a lot of people like you were sort of confused because maybe it's a bit convoluted, but I think what J.K. Rowling does for me and for a lot of other people, it seems like the way she's written it is more in a sort of novel style. If you go back and listen to Grindelwald and how he talks, it's extremely precise, and everything that has been said throughout the film gets a payoff, and it's exactly like she would write a novel, but in a shorter form, obviously. And I think, yes, it was complicated, but it made total sense to me because I obviously got all the Harry Potter references. There was some major moments that I was like, cinema, I was like, oh shit. Like the ending, sort of before it happens, I was like, this is it. And so to me, it all made absolute sense because I got all those references. I got sort of the way that she was writing it. I'm used to it. I love it. And it's a great setup. Yes, some people would complain that it feels like a setup for the next film. But to me, because we know there's 5 films, I didn't go in expecting like a fully sort of rounded story. I expect that continuation, like say with what you got with Star Wars, like with sort of the cliffhanger, and I really, really enjoyed that sort of ending and then the setup. And I don't have a problem that it's just sort of this chapter in the story that sets up the next, because you could read it like it's a series of films, which it is. So I went in expecting that. That doesn't affect me. And I think this is better than the first Fantastic Beasts. I thought it was really incredible. And like the first Fantastic Beasts so much, but I think this is like, so then like maybe it's like in the mid range of the Harry Potters for me, but I just was spellbound throughout. I thought David Yates did such a great job with the visuals. I know you didn't like them, but and I thought it was rather sort of like the way it was written and visually. I thought it was sort of like poetic, like the way that it's sort of like from the very first scene, you get that sort of visceral sense of what's going on from the cinematography. But then as it goes on, I sort of like by the ending when we're all with Grindelwald, and it's sort of like so well put together, in my opinion, and so well written that the visuals sort of go hand in hand with it. And if you get all those Harry Potter references, I think you're going to be really satisfied. And it's a good film, and I really, really enjoyed it. It is favorite film with Suspiria this year. Gonna see it for a third time this week. Very excited.
I wish I was on your end of the spectrum. I wish I could enjoy this movie. I really could not. And I've kind of, my anticipation for the next 3 movies that they've got coming up has been significantly reduced. I know David Yates is fairly popular among Potter fans as a director. I would personally like to see a switch up for the next film. I'd personally like to see someone step in to take a fresh direction. Purely just, to maybe change some things up. Because I feel like, because David Yates, he's been doing it since what? I think he's been doing it since, is it the Goblet of Fire or Order of the Phoenix?
Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite one.
Yeah, so he's been doing it for quite a while. I feel like, it's same with a TV show with like having a showrunner for a really long time. I feel like you need to change it up, every sort of few years. So, I'd like to see a new director step in for the third movie if they're gonna when we get that third movie, because it has been doing financially quite well. So I think the plans are still very much in place there.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's good. This is a good discussion to have like two opposite opinions. This is like polar opposite.
Yeah. If I can add in, I'm obviously a massive fan of David Yates because I love every single Harry Potter film. I have no problem with any of them, and he obviously directed my favorite one, which is Order of the Phoenix. Then closely behind is Alfonso Cuarón's Prisoner of Azkaban, and so obviously I'm a massive fan. But I have to slightly agree with you. I love him as a director. He does a great job in all of these, in my opinion. One person that I would love to see tackle it, and I'm not sure if he will, but I know he's a massive fan, is Alfonso Cuarón's really good friend, Guillermo del Toro. So,
that'd be interesting.
Hear me out, right? He was the reason why Alfonso Cuarón did The Prisoner of Azkaban. He was like, you're fucking crazy if you're not going to pick this, because he loves these films. And I think the sort of aspect of what it tackles is sort of down Del Toro's line, and I think that would bring back a lot of people. Or if Cuarón was to return, which I don't know if he would, but he obviously had a great time making The Prisoner of Azkaban, and he's very proud of it. I know that. I think that would bring back a lot of people. Obviously, it's like a really far-fetched. Would be the one way that I would be like, okay, switch David Yates.
I really like that choice. That's a really good choice. I love Del Toro.
No, he loves Harry Potter, so that's like...
Yeah. So, if he's a massive fan, if he was given the opportunity, then I'm sure he'd do it. I think that's a great choice. I think that's a really good shout. One of my favorite movies still this year is I know this movie's technically a 2017 release, but it came out 2018 here. Is The Shape of Water. I bloody love that film. I'm a big fan of Del Toro in general. I think that's a great choice. That would definitely, like, if they announced that he was doing the third one, I'd definitely be a lot more excited just to see his, artistic vision on things. He's got a very, very individual mind in comparison to the rest of Hollywood. Like his vision is so different to everyone else. So I definitely think that's a very fresh, very fun choice. I'd definitely like to see that, and that would definitely get me more excited. But this was a good little discussion just to show the contrast. Because, like I say, we were literally polar opposites. You loved it, I hated it. So, and it's a shame because, I mean, if you know me, I don't like to be negative. I don't like to be, I always like to put a positive spin on things. But for me, I cannot do it with this movie, which is a real shame. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. I wish I could be on your side, but I just unfortunately cannot. So that does bring us to the end of this episode of Real Movie Talk. Quite a short one this week, but like I say, I think the lack of news is to play there. But we hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, make sure you share it around with any other movie fans who you think may enjoy this kind of content. And as always, I've been Dec.
Ben.
And we hope to see you guys again in the next episode.